hear me? I need everybody to say something, so I know I'm not speaking to myself somehow.
Yes, we can hear
Okay, I can hear you, Muhsin. Hi,
All
good afternoon.
right. Afternoon, Kingsley, your time zone has changed. It was evening earlier.
you.
It was a mistake, sir.
Oh, it was a mistake. Okay. All right. So I was thinking you're now in what country could that be? New Zealand or somewhere. So others, let's hear us speak. Let's know, or we are on the queue for Naira or fuel or something.
Today is Sunday. You can't even find money in it. So not Naira, possibly fuel.
Uh, Possible fuel. Okay. Even Naira now, but we need to prepare ahead for the week. So people need to withdraw today.
That's what I'm saying. That even at the ATM gallery, you won't find the cash. You won't find any cash.
It's
As at
it's,
this,
it's crazy.
will have been gone, everything.
It's crazy. Somewhere yesterday, I withdrew 4K yesterday. I was charged 500 naira
But that means you
or
use POS.
4,000 naira. Yes, I use POS. I can't remember the last time I used the ATM machine. It's been a long while. I use POS mostly, but I don't know. It's just something else now.
I'm stingy. I usually go to the ATM. It's only when it is
Yeah.
urgent that I use POS.
It's just the time to get to some ATM and the time to queue. That's that's what that's what makes me pay the charges rather sometimes. So that's essentially it. Okay, so let's go on now. If you have a report with you based on the data set that was shared, could we signify? Let's know how many of us. Okay, I see Yinka's on this app. Any other person tried out something? You tried out something on the data set and you have it here with you.
Okay, Muhsin, I have mine with me. My laptop is not with me. I'm not at home. I just sent the PDF like to my phone and the PBIX reports. So I can only share it on WhatsApp into the
Okay,
group chat.
okay. You have the PBIX with you, right?
Yes, sir, and the PDF, I screenshotted it.
Okay. Can you share the PBIX with Yinka? So hopefully when it's your turn,
Okay,
he assists you to share that report.
okay, sir. No problem. Okay, sir.
Thank you, sir. Um, Anybody else? Okay. Welcome newcomers, latecomers. If you have your report, could you signify before we go on? I think okay. Started building my visuals. Unfortunately, my laptop isn't with me. ATM.
At the
ATM.
moment,
Sarah, you want to withdraw money somewhere?
at the moment.
Okay, ATM is at the moment. Interesting. Oh, I'm so bad with abbreviations. Okay, ATM. All right. So when I hear ATM, I think of money, really. Okay, anyone else? Okay, Pelumi has this report. Anyone else has something to share? Okay, so while we speak, Yinka, please you can put up your screen. Let's see what you have. Then Kingsley, share the PBX file with Yinka so you can share for you. And Pelumi, you can get set. So when it's your turn, you share what you have with us. So Yinka, please shoot 2 minutes. Let's have a walkthrough of what you have
Um,
for us.
oh, I share. I would like to apologize that
Okay.
um I did not actually made another report. The data set that was sent
Yeah.
was the data set I used to create a report I shared on WhatsApp group. Like few days before you sent the data set. So that was the reason I
Yes.
did not create another report. So I'll
Oh,
be sharing
okay.
that report
But
with
did you check the data set that I shared? Did you check it?
yes, it is.
Yeah, I know it's the Superstore data set, but it has been modified. So it's not 100% the same. So
Okay.
what I remember is the one I shared with you guys should have three worksheets. So there is a worksheet for returned items, if I'm correct with that. I'm guessing that's what I shared with you. So that there's a worksheet for returned items. There's a worksheet for is it in managers or somehow. So there are slight modifications to that data set. So it's not really the publicly available Superstore data set anymore. But nonetheless, let's still have what you have, and let's go through what you were able to come up with.
Okay. Can anybody see my screen?
Yes, I can.
So this is the review. I was able to
Okay, 2 minutes. Walk through.
okay. So this is the executive summary. We have 3 pages. This reports. First one is the executive summary. The second one is the product summary, and the third one is the customer summary. So instead of me having many pages like this, I decided to use bookmark to create the pages so that I can just click and navigate to another ports while still on the share page. So if I'm to click on this product summary, the entire visual will change while still on that page. And if I should click on the customer summary, the entire visual will change while still on the page. So this is so we have the filters, the slide and the slicers. We have them up here. Slicers, and this one is by states, and these ones are by the category. This one is by the customer segments, and this dictates the slider type of slicer, and everything is responsive. As you filter, everything responses. So, and on
Okay.
some visuals, I have
Uh-huh.
some drill down buttons, drill down tools on some visuals, whereby you can drill down to the next level of the reports. By clicking on technology, it will drill down to technology. Oh, so it will drill down to technology. This phone, this copier, these phones, these accessories, and this machine. So back to normal. So the product summary, this entails information about the products, the total and transactions by category, the total transaction by subcategory, so that we can know the product that is performing well and the one that is not performing. Then the product name, the category, the total sales, and the total profits. if you want to know which of the products you wish sold more, we we sort it by the category and by the quality, the quantity, sorry. And if you want to know the one that has the highest sales, we sort it by the total sales. If you want to know the one with the highest profits, we sort it by the profits. And from the data, it was realized that there are some items that they made loss on, maybe due to the type of product and they want to just dispatch it out of the warehouse. They don't want it to be remain in the warehouse. So they had to discount the items, which later result in loss for them. So when if you look at the data, you see some in brackets, it means a negative value. That's it is the brackets. So we go back to the executive summary. You see that I have a card visual that is showing the total loss. Yeah.
Round up, sir.
That is showing the total loss. Yeah. So instead, for example, to a manager, the job the you need the summary the manager needs to see is the sales, the trend of the sales, then the sales that is making the total sales, the category, sales by category, sales by segments, and the profits, which of the categories making the profits, then total sales by states, which state is having the highest sales and which state is having. Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot, Yinka. Um, so the session really, okay, I'll speak about it much later, but do you have Kingsley's report with you? Is it opened on your Power BI desktop?
Just download it.
Okay, Palumi, you can share your screen. Let's have you speak for 2 minutes.
Hello, Muhsin. Good afternoon. I'm just connecting to my laptop. I connected with my phone, so I just want to laptop now.
Okay, Yinka, are you with the report now?
No.
Okay, all right. So this is what we do. Let's move on. We are 23 minutes past the hour already. So the essence of this, so that I just reiterate, is we are just trying to ensure that we bridge further the skill gap that might still be in our individual skill set. And so in a way, we know that we have learned some things prior to this time in a number of ways, the boot camp, our personal learnings, the personal trainings that some of us we've had. Some of us have participated in some challenge and some sort. All of these do not mean that we have attained the peak of what we should know. So it's only by practice, by exploring further, that's when we get to, be better at those things that we currently do. And of course, get ourselves more prepared as to those other things that we aim at. So the data set I was shared, essentially it's only meant for us to lay our hands on it. There is no right or wrong answer to it. But I use that to open our minds to some real life situations, some things that might be happening when we eventually get some roles. We are meant to analyze data set. In a company, someone just throws a data set at you. You are meant to analyze. How do you go about it? How do you begin to visualize? So now we're not talking about Power BI. This is not a Power BI training. So what we are talking about today is we just want to look at what are some of the intricacies of visualizations. What are some things that we need to be aware of when we want to visualize data set? That's what we want to look at. And I would want to implore us for most meetups like this that we'll be having, we might be having some assignments to do prior to that meetup. Let's endeavor to lay our hands on them. The essence is when we do, in a way, we had our own way of conceptualizing the problem and we have approached it in a particular way. So when we come together and we look at it from a different perspective, then we would have what's it called? We would begin to now correlate or compare between what you have done before the session and what eventually we are, or the approach we're taking to it while on the session. So that is how we want us to look at it. So now Yinka has done something. That is an approach to this. In the session today, it's possible that we have a different approach to that. Then in a way, it might change Yinka's orientation about some things. It might change the way Yinka would approach some similar problems in the future. It might change the way you would design some things when you are putting your users in mind. So that is really the essence of what we are trying to do. So this is essentially not training, but we are just coming together to look at things. And I'm saying it's not training because let me tell us, I'm not prepared for this. So it's just a freestyle, okay? But I know that we'll be able to do something very tangible. So let's get into it. So I assume my screen is back up, and so I'm just want to share back the data set, and so that we see that Yinka, your hand is up, and
The report is up.
okay, the report is up. Okay, just to hold on for the moment so that we can better maximize our time. So I want us to stop this at exactly 4 p.m. and we are 27 minutes at the top of the hour already. So just hopefully, if I'm able to figure out a feasible time for that, I'll call on you to share the reports, please. And let's our 2 p.m. Let it always be 2 p.m. please. All right, so let's get into this. This is the data set that was shared. Somehow the data sets will be familiar to most of us. Raise your hand somehow, I don't know, or you want to type on the chat. If you have worked on Superstore or sample Superstore data, I don't know if that's what's called, but Superstore data, if you have worked on it before now, let's use the raise hand icon. You have played with that data set before, use the raise hand icon. I see only one hand up. Okay, so maybe I asked the wrong question. Everybody, type on the chat. What data set have you worked on before? What data set? I know some people must have worked on something movies, something Netflix, something. Let's type on the chat quickly, everybody. This not training, no, not training at all. So we are driving this together. Just type one data set you worked on before. Sales data. Inioluwa, where did you get that data from? The sales data set, where did you get it from? Office supply data set. Okay, yes.
Yeah,
Go on. I can't hear you anymore.
I was given by
Marvin,
someone, sir.
by someone. Okay. Thanks for that. Precious Marvin market data set. Okay. Type on the chat very quickly. So while we are typing, I want us to achieve two things in this class today. Two things, so that we know that this is the goal for today's class. Of course, visualization is broad and we can't encompass the entire talks around visualization in 2 hours. It's not possible. So it's actually possible that we'll be splitting this class to have the part B of the class sometime. I can't say the time yet, but for today, I want us to achieve two things just that's coming to my head now. One is, how do you approach a problem? What should be your approach? That's number one. Number two is, how do you plan out your visualizations? So those two things are the key things we want to look at. I would want somebody to type those two things on the chart, and so that we'll tick the boxes when we are rounding up. Two things we're doing today. How do you plan out? How do you approach an analysis problem? And number two is how do you plan out your visualization? So those are the two things we want to look at. Remember the neighbor I worked on it during one of Wale's training last year. Okay, all right, that's fine. So now let's start with this. This is sample superstore data. Okay. Um, so this data set is one of the data sets that is publicly available. So if you go to cargo.com, you'll see this data set there. If you go to data.gov, you see it's possible that you see some similar data sets there as well. A lot of platform where we can get data set from, but essentially is this one publicly available. Even if you go to Google, you type superstore data, most likely you'll get a result that will direct you to this data set almost immediately. So, but this data set, like I mentioned, has some modifications. So here on this column, this is the order ID. See the order ID as, I'm explaining this because most of us have not worked with this data set before. So see the order ID as the receipt ID. Somebody comes into our store to place order for a particular product. Okay, it comes to our store to place order for a particular product. We issue a receipt for that transaction. There is a receipt ID on that receipt. That is the ID we use to track whatever order. So if somebody, the same person is coming back to our store days after to say that he wants a refund of his money, the product has issues, there was damages somewhere, then it is that receipt ID that we'll use to track out the transaction on our own system. So that is the order ID. Okay. So I will not be explaining all the entire column. Some of it are quite explanatory. We know what customer ID would mean, the customer segments. So in our business, we have different segments. So we deal in home office supplies, within consumer goods and corporate goods. So we have classified our customers based on what they, mostly buy from us. And one of the peculiarities to this data set is that we have a returns worksheet. And the returns worksheet is such that it is referring to the products that were returned. So somebody has purchased a product from us now, and then the person mentioned that there was an issue with the product. Okay, there was an issue with the product, so the individual returned that product to us. So that is what we have tracked here. So we have a column that says returned, we have a column that says updated orders, order returned, something like that. And then we have a people's worksheet where we have our persons, which seem to be like our managers, and then the regions that they're managing. So that is just an overview of the data set. After the session today, I will still want us to go back to the data set. You build out the report, fleshing things out completely so that it becomes a standard report for you. But now, how do you approach a problem like this? Assuming that you are an analyst within an organization, you work with an organization and your manager throws this data set to you and it says that Kingsley, go and analyze this data set. That might be the language. Create a report based on this data set. How do you begin? What should be your approach to it? The very first thing is this. There are two scenarios. The first scenario is you are given a data set without clear-cut business questions to answer. Somebody gives you a data set like this. He asks you to go and analyze this data set without pointing you to any specific questions to ask or to answer based on your findings from the data. That is the first scenario. Data set without business questions. The second scenario is you have the data set and you have some business questions to answer. So you are given the data set and then he has asked you that, okay, so I need to know what our best selling product is. I need to know what some products was mostly returned. I need to know what product was blah, blah, blah. a lot of questions like that. So that is the second scenario. So those two scenarios, depending on what you get, how would you approach it? I will start off from the second. And the second is that, who would remind me? Somebody. What's the second scenario? Quickly.
You said the second scenario is when we know the business questions attached to the data sets we were given.
Excellent. So how do you proceed? You have the data set, an email comes to you, find attached the data set, the business questions. What I typically have advised people, which I think and I've seen to be the better route to it, is go to the business questions first. Maybe that was put on a separate PDF file. Go and read up the business questions. So somebody has asked you that, okay, assist us figure out what our best-selling product is, assist us to figure out what is which of our managers needs to be fired, assist us figure out which of our sales product or sales branches or regions do we need to drop and stop funding. Go and read up all those questions first. When you read up those questions, don't look at the data set. Read up those questions, then ruminate over those questions. So somebody is asking, which of our sales managers should be fired? Then for you as an analyst, you need to begin to ask yourself the question, if we need to fire a sales analyst, what should be the metrics to be used? What are some of the criteria that we need to deploy before we can ascertain that this individual needs to be fired? So let's discuss now, everybody. We have a data set. We need to determine or decipher which of our sales managers needs to be fired. What are some things we need to look at? Somebody, some of us should speak to this. What do you think? What do you think we should measure to know?
Example, the total sales that the individual is bringing to the company, the profits that are generating from that individual. As for example, the sales rep, how many sales is the sales rep bringing? Then what is the profit we are getting from the sales rep? What is the quantity of products and what type of products is the sales rep pushing?
Okay. Thanks a lot for that, Minka. So I hear you speak about the sales rep. I hear you speak about the profit and the kind of products, if I'm not mistaken. Thanks a lot for that. Sarah.
Okay, yes. I think we can compare each manager to manager to sales, so total sales per region, and then we are checking the managers, and then total quantities sold per region. So we use that as our yardstick to find out which manager and region is not doing well.
Okay. So Sarah is saying that we need to look at a sort of a comparison, what the manager has brought against the total sale. So somebody who has brought the least probably should be fired, and maybe something like that. Okay. Thank you, Sarah. Kingsley.
Okay, in addition to what Sarah and Yinka said, I think if in the data set there is a column that measures, as customers are able to give reviews as per manager, can also use that measure as a yardstick to decipher which sales manager performs well.
Thanks a lot for that, Kingsley. So I hear you talking about reviews. So maybe would ask the sales reps to pass reviews on the managers, and whichever manager has the worst review probably should be fired. Okay, thanks for that, Palumi.
All right, I will say I will say we should check the rate of how the managers are actually retaining customers. That's customer retention. So after getting products, based on their relationship with the customers, how many customers were they able to retain for the organization, that the customer will be loyal to organization, something like that.
Okay. So customer retention, Pelumi said. All right. Thanks a lot, everybody. Valid points there. Now that we have looked at the business question we want to answer is who should be fired? And based on that, we have seen that maybe a route to go by it might be we looking at what the sales volume of a particular manager is. So we have we aggregate the sales volume for all our managers, and which manager, whichever from the managers has the least sales volume compared to probably the running cost of his branch should be fired. It means we are not profitable in that particular branch. Okay, so if you're picking that alone, in our mind now, we want to answer, we want to further, substantiate what is happening within that, which is we are looking at sales volume, running a comparison of the individual sales volume to the total, and then looking at probably the running cost against the sales volume to say whichever branch has the sales volume to be lower than the running costs means that the branch is not profitable, and probably means that we should close the branch, and consequently would impact the manager, and the manager will leave. Based on what I just explained, what data points do we think we would need? What data points do we think we would need? When I say data point, what I mean is what sort of columns do you need to have in your data set to be able to answer what I just explained? Yes, Yinka? Yinka, you're muted if you're speaking.
You need to have your sales column, and you need to have your
So,
profit column. If you are not having your profit column, you need to have your cost of production column.
so we need to have sales column, profit column, and the cost, running cost, right?
So
Is
by
that
that
what
we
you,
can, yes, by that we can know the cost of running, the running cost of the branch, and also the profit that is coming in from that branch. So we can compare the two. So we are going to be shutting
all
down
right,
the profit.
all right, excellent. Thanks a lot for that. Because we looked at the question, and after looking at the business question, we gave it some thought to say, okay, if we want to retrench somebody, what should be the yardstick? And we're able to explore options. And based on the options we have, we're able to identify what data point would speak to each of the options. Then we are halfway done. So the next thing is we already have in our minds what data points we need. So immediately we open our data set. Looking at those columns, you will be able to figure out almost immediately what columns you need to combine, what columns you need to aggregate, what columns you need to calculate, perform some calculations on to answer that business question. So I say, and that is what I recommend usually. Of course, people might have diverse views about this. If you are in the second situation, which is the situation of you have a data set to analyze and you have it accompanied with a document speaking to the business questions you need to answer to, then the first thing I would say you should do is look at the business questions first. Take your time to understand what the questions are. Take your time to digest the questions, provide solutions to the questions in your head, and identify what you need to provide those solutions. Then go on to look at the data set. You should have a faster route to your analysis that way. But if it was the first situation whereby you only have a data set you do not have business questions. Then what you need to do is, depending on the kind of data set that you have got, you need to itemize business questions you solve. So you need to look at the data set, and then from the data set, draft out business questions you solve. This usually will be slower because first is you would need more time to understand the data set first. You need to understand what industry has that data set. Is it a sales data? Is it a logistics data? Is it a retail data? You need to understand the industry. So it is only when you understand the industry and the data set that you have that you will now be able, your mind will be open to what is important to this industry. So let's speak about this now. This is the situation we have found ourselves in. We have a sample superstore data. Obviously, this is a sales data. So this looks like a retail store, okay, a retail outlet, and they have a data set like this. Based on what we have seen on this data set, looking at that, we have the orders worksheet, we have the returns worksheet, and we have the people's worksheet. So everybody, I want us to go to the chart very quickly. Type out one business question that you think that if we answer to with this data set, it will be of value to this company. So the company, of course, based on the business question, will be able to make some decision as to what should be their next steps. So let's go to the chart, type out one question at least on the chart. One question at least on the chart. Type. Think about it. Some seconds, about a minute. And then type on the chart what you think should be a question that would be of value to this business. So Latifa, the question is, look at the data set that we have, this sample superstore data that I have on my screen. What should be some questions that if we answer them with this data set, they will be of value to the business? All right. I see some things on the chart. Okay, some of us we're looking at the fast moving product, um, profit increment rate per region, product with the highest number of returns, revenue per region, total sale over a period of time, product subcategory is the most profitable. Excellent. So we have that questions now. So once we have your questions drafted, then the next thing you would want to do is to begin out your analysis, which is how do you want to now plan out your visualization in this case. So you know that answering some of these questions, of course, it would require you to identify what columns will speak to that. So for instance, if you want to look at the first one, which is what is our fastest moving product? Our fastest moving product. That is more like, if I interpret that correctly, it's more like saying that which of our product is the most selling. So when we look at the units that we sell for a particular product, which of it is most selling? Okay, I'm guessing that interpretation is correct. Precious, is that interpretation correct? Preciously precious. Is it correct?
Sorry, sir, I don't get the question.
That was Kingsley, I guess.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir. So I'll come back to that. The question was to Precious. Precious, are you here?
Yes, yes, I'm here.
You sound tired. You've been on the search for fuel since morning.
No,
Okay. So hope you're fine.
yes,
Okay. So did you hear my question?
no,
Sorry?
I did not get the question.
Okay. So my question is, somebody said that one of the questions we should answer to with this data set is what is our fast moving product? Okay. Are you with me?
Yes, I'm with you.
So I'm now saying that my own interpretation is which of the product are we selling the most units from? So if you look at the units, the number of units we are selling per product, whichever one ranks at the top seem to be would be said to be our fastest moving product. Is that interpretation
Yes,
correct?
yes, yes.
Or you don't want to tell me that I'm wrong
That would be the product with the highest quantity.
with the highest quantity? Okay. Kingsley, did you get that now? Thanks a lot, Precious.
I had my name.
You had your name.
Sorry,
That
I did
that
not.
that most likely is from the country that you currently reside in. They are calling you
Ah,
from home.
you see, I'm
Sorry,
sorry.
I
I did.
called Precious, not you. Yeah,
Okay, okay, okay. Sorry.
yeah. All right. So now, by interpreting your question correctly, you will be able to identify. So now we have identified that based on my explanation, we can see that we might need the unit sold column, we might need to do some aggregation on that column, and then we might need to break that down based on our different products. So we are like 50% into our analysis already. If you're able to capture this correctly, and then you are able to break things down to identify what data point would add up to solving or answering that particular question. And again, very quickly on this, another thing that would assist. So you have a data set. This may not be totally applicable, or is still applicable if you're working within a business environment. So you work for a company now, a data set was shared with you. You have some colleagues that are analysts as well, or some colleagues that are probably working in some other units of the business. If the data policies within your organization allows you to share that data set with them, or just go with your system to them. Let them look at the data set and let them tell you some questions they would want answered from that data set. This works like magic. Most times, because of our analytical mindset, in a way, you are already confined within the space of your analysis, and your mind is not extending possibilities beyond what you currently think within. And so there will be some questions that your mind is relegating, that this is not relevant, which might be questions that are important. So when you take your data set to somebody who is outside of your team or a colleague or somehow, but ensure that this is something that is allowed within your organization. Don't do something that would make them send you to a town hall. You need to be careful of what you're doing. So ensure that take your data set to them. Once your data set is with them, let them look at it. Let them tell you some questions that they would want you to answer based on that data set. Have those drafted, and there's a high tendency that you will have some best questions from people like that. So once you have this, then you can now plan out your visualization. How do you want your visualization to be? How do you want your report outlook to be? What should be the feel and look of your report? That is the next thing to do. The planning of your visualization is something that is critical. And the reason why it's critical is that except you're somebody who is coming from a design background. So maybe you've been a graphics designer, or you've done maybe you've done some design related things. So in a way, you might have a broader scope as to designs, but somebody like me who hated design from onset, I never was a fan of design. Those times that we used to do fine art, most of my assignments were usually outsourced. So somebody else would do those assignments. So I hated design, I hated it with passion. So if you're someone like me, you will need time out to plan out your visualization. And remember that this is visualization for a corporate. You're not building reports for the public, okay? You're building a report that is reasonable, that is appealing to the senior management team or the stakeholders within the business. So you want to carefully plan it out such that you have something that is presentable and they want to look at. Because if your report is not appealing to the eyes, I can bet it with you, whatever findings your report is communicating will be entering their nostrils. They will not hear them. So because what they are looking at is not even appealing to them. So they won't see the value in your report. They won't see the numbers in your report, except you have a separate report that you have written to communicate that to them. But if it's your Power BI report that you're showing to them, or your Excel report, or your Tableau, whatever tool you're using, you need to carefully plan it out and see how you can have a nice planning, nice outline for your report. So let's do something in the minutes that we have left. So I'll be speaking to the visualization plan from, let's look at 2 or 3 key things for today. I want somebody to note them on the chart for me. One is navigation. Number 2 is the layout itself. Number 3 is the colors. Those 3 things: navigation, layout, colors. Somebody should note on the chart. Okay, thank you, Latifa. Navigation, layout, and color. So let's pick layout first. There are a number of ways to plan out the layout. There are places you can go to get design inspirations. So maybe I've mentioned some of it to us before. It's possible. Um, let me say, I think I've mentioned it to us before. It's possible. And if I've not, we can go to, what are this website again? Can go to novipro.com, or we go to there is Power BI data gallery, and then we can go to where's this again? I've forgotten some of this. So if you go to the Power BI data gallery and we come to data storage gallery on Power BI community. So this is actually a community that we might want to also register on, and we can post our visualizations for people to see. So there are tons of visualizations here. I've not posted any before, so I'm a corporate, but I think it's something that you may want to explore, you may want to do, which could earn you some visibility as well. So this is Novi Pro. So if you sign in, you can have, there should be somewhere to look at. Yes, so discover all dashboards. So you see people's dashboards here, and you can pick some inspirations from here. So I think this is still loading. So what this is for is you are not trying to copy what people have done. Sorry. I don't need this. How do I go out of this? Here's the button. Yes. So you are not copying people's design, but you are just trying to get inspirations for design to see, okay, how are people designing their dashboards, and so that you can use that as an inspiration for your own tool. Um, Also is that you're not taking everything you see here verbatim. There are a lot of nonsense that you see here too. You know, it's a public place where everybody and anybody can post what they have as their dashboards here. So you can see there are a lot of things that even at first sight, you would not want to do something like that. It doesn't just make sense. So this is the Power BI data story gallery. So you have some more interesting designs here. So look at this for Netflix. So this is a clear, you know, a very nice outlook, well laid out and stuff. So you have, if you click on it, you see the actual reports. So the reports are published here, and there are thousands or hundreds of pages that you can look at here. So let me just drop these links on the chart so that we can make use of those as part of our resource. So let me just do this. So I'll pick this Novi Pro, and Novi Pro as well. You can create accounts on Novi Pro so that you use that as your visualization portfolio. So that's another thing we can use Novi Pro for. So let me just design visualization, design inspiration. All right. So now we can get inspirations from here, but I'm not going to do that now. So what I would do is I will just launch a PowerPoint file, because I'm not a design person, so I don't know how to design. But if you use other design tools like Adobe and stuff, you can actually make use of those as well. So what we can do now is this. This is me trying to plan out how I want my report to look like. So for me, I have a couple of designs that I've used. So I'm just going to pick one of the ideas, and that is what I'm going to implement with us now. So what I might want to do is to say that I want to, here's this thing, shapes. I want to have my, a sort of a report header somewhere at the top. So here, this side of my report page, this space here is where I want to have my report information. And by report information, what I mean is I want to have my report title. If there are other information I want to give to the user about the report, I want to have it at my top left like this. Okay, then another thing I want to have is I want to have my navigations here. I'll put my navigations here. So this, I want to reduce the length of this to something like this. And for this one, I can say that I want to reduce the size like this. And maybe if I have a slicer on that page of reports, I might want to put the slicer somewhere here. So the slicer might be somewhere here, slicer, and here I want to have my page navigation. My page navigation should be here. So then another thing I might want to have here is just look at maybe somewhere at the bottom here. It depends. So maybe somewhere at the bottom here, I might want to have some information about my report. So I want to put something here that tells the user a bit more information, maybe when the report was last refreshed or last updated, or some information that would be interesting to them. Okay, so which means the entire space that I have in between here, that is where I will place some of my report visuals. This is where I will place them. So this is just a simple outline, but let's see how we're going to implement this within Power BI. So there are some complex outline that you may want to do depending on what you want to combine to do some of those. But I'm trying to work by our time, and I want to ensure that we are able to hit on our target. So it's not about how much, but how solid are we able to um, get some concept and implement them. So let me launch a Power BI file. Sorry, I have one here, so I'm just gonna launch a new one. So, and I will try to launch one that has that data model that we need. So just bear with me for some seconds so that it has that data model already. Sample superstore analysis, sample superstore. So sorry, it's coming up. Power BI can be slow sometimes. Sorry, this thing is still opening up. Don't know why this is pretty slow. It came out blank. Hmm. Okay. So just hold on, Latifa. Let's see. Hopefully, we have some time to troubleshoot some things while we are wrapping up. Um, okay, so I have the report up. So let me put this here. So I have the data model already for this particular data set. So we have the fact, the returns, and all of this. So I'm sure we know how to get this out. So now, based on the design that we have on PowerPoint. So how do we translate this into Power BI? So the first thing I would want to do is this. And by the way, I have some measures on this already. So I was working on this report. I will show us what I was doing. I'm not done with it, but I will show us towards the end of this conversation. So what I would do is, and by the way, the design, I think the design I want to use is not even what is on this report. So hopefully we'll see some of those. So we said that we should have a space at the top wherein we can put some information about our report and the slicer. So I'm just gonna go come to insert. I'll come to shapes. I'll put a line here, and then I'll come here to maybe somewhere like this. And so I can just draw this to the side. So this side, then I can come to insert a text box, and I want to give some information about my report. So I'll just say that this is maybe this is a summary page or overview. So I will say that sales overview. Like I said, this is not a training per se. I know you guys, you're Power BI gurus already, so you know how to do all of these things. So I'll come back to the colors. So then let me just reduce. But if I'm doing something that you seem not clear about, let me know. Hopefully I know it, and so I can attend to it. So I have this. So I will have some other information on this. Then, okay, we said that this shouldn't get to the far right. I'll leave this as this, and I want to just add some visuals very quickly. One of the visuals that I use, now we are talking about visualization. And for visualization, you're trying to communicate insight. For me, on most of my reports, maybe like 99% of my report, I don't use card visuals. And the reason why I don't use card visual is because card visuals just communicate individual numbers. It tells you if I add a card visual here and I come to my fact table and I pick, let's say I pick my revenue. I pick my revenue, I dropped it on this. Oh, yeah, calculates. What's the measure behind this? Okay, this is 2.3. Okay, so I pick and drop it here. 2.3 million. Yes, it's useful to know, but it's meaningless. Why is it meaningless? Somebody should tell me. Why do we think this number is not totally meaningless? Why do we think it doesn't add value to the business? Knowing that our sales, our revenue is 2.3 million, why does it not add value to the business? Let's think. Our analytic minds and caps. Or what value does this add to the business? Maybe I should ask it that way. Okay, Sarah.
Okay, so I think why it's not so useful is because you can get this information from any other source. You can get it from our Excel. It doesn't really give like a breakdown of what made up this revenue or what product, or just it doesn't give us more information on what's added up to this revenue.
Okay, thanks a lot for that, Sarah. Yinka, I see your hand up. Excuse me. Okay, Pelumi.
Okay, I will just add to what Sarah said. He's not giving us full information and he's not telling us where we have more revenue. Probably the products we are offering, what product is giving us more revenue? Because based on that, that is when the managers or the stakeholders will know when to channel their effort next time. Probably the product that's not giving them more revenue, they can channel their something over there. So it's limited. The information using this card visual is limited, not giving us what we need to know about the revenue aspect.
Okay, thanks for that, Pelumi. Kingsley. Sorry, is Kingsley here? Okay, Latifa, let's have you, please.
Okay, to me, I don't think it's all useless. I feel that if there are other card visuals showing supporting information, like apart from having one with revenue, let's say there's another one by its side showing this the quantity sold, another one showing probably total sales, then one can compare values and it won't be totally meaningless there.
Okay, thank you, Latifa. Kingsley, are you here now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay.
Okay.
It's giving us the total revenue, and I realize one thing. One of the reasons why we do analysis is to take is either to change business strategy or to improve business strategy. And this data set is not just data sets for just one particular product or one particular business hub. There are regions there. So if it's giving us the total revenue, we cannot say we want to change the whole business strategy of the whole hubs or probably improve the business strategy of the whole hub. So we cannot take certain decisions because it is just giving us the total.
Okay. Thanks a lot for that, Kingsley. Thank you, everybody. Let me ask another question. And my question would be that looking at this figure, 2.3 million revenue, are we doing well or not? Yes, Yinka.
Just looking merely at the revenue without any other informations, we cannot say if we are doing well or we're not doing well.
Okay. What do we need? What more do we need to answer the question whether we are doing well or not?
Possibly profits. Profit
Okay,
is going to
profit.
indicate if we are doing well or not.
Okay, so what you're saying is if I have a visual and then I have my profits, this would answer the question of whether we are doing well or not.
Yes, it should.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, thanks for that, Aminga. Latifa?
Oh, I just want to try. I'm thinking minus the revenue. If we have a visual telling us what went, like, I don't know the terminology to use, the capital or the amount that went into generating that revenue, we can actually compare to know if we're doing well.
Okay, yes. So that's a way around it. Thanks for that, Kingsley.
Okay, if there is a visual telling us the profit over time, yes, we'll be able to tell whether we are making profit like over time, something like that.
Okay, thank you for that, Kingsley. So what I'm driving out is this. Before we can answer the question of are we profitable or not, whatever metric we are picking, whether you're picking revenue, whether you're picking profit, you're picking whatever, the cost of the running cost of the business or the operational cost or whatever you're picking, there should be some comparison between the current period and the last period. Let me explain this way. If I add a slicer, if I bring a slicer here, this is just a rough, would arrange them. And on my slicer, I come here to my calendar and I drop my year. And this, I just, I don't know why I don't like this number line. So I like it drop down. Okay, they have changed this, yes. So I need to come to my slicer setting and I say drop down. And I take this to 2017. Okay, we don't have data for 2017, 16, do we? Okay, we have data for 2016. So if I look at 2016 now, this entire visuals get filtered to 2016. So now we are looking at 2016 figure, but we cannot still tell whether we are doing right or wrong based on what we have done in the other years. So when we try to check for profitability, let me just explain this, and then we go to the visual that can assist us to manage that. When we want to check for profitability, what I think, let's listen to this. What I think we should do is to say that this is 2016 revenue. If we want to ascertain whether we did good or bad in 2016, this should be a it should be a function of a comparison between 2016 and 2015. So when we look at 2015, for instance, we made 608. 2016, we made 733. There should be a visual that will immediately tell us, once we click on 2016, that will tell us that we did better than 2015. Did anybody get that correctly? Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thanks for that. So it is looking at such comparison that will know that, okay, because we know already how much we made last year, and now we are looking at this year's figure. Obviously, we have forgotten last year's figure. So if you are looking at this year's figure, we want to be able to quickly make the judgment that we did well this year, or we are doing well this year, because in our mind or the visual is telling us what comparison we are making to the previous year's sales. And that is one of the principal reasons why I don't use card visuals. Of course, it has its place. There are certain times that you just want to see individual numbers. Maybe want to look at employee count. Of course, even for employee count, you want to know, as our employee count grown from last year to this year, from last month to this month. So I may not still use a card visual for that. So I use card visual. If I would use card visual, it would be for something that is static. Maybe the number of departments in the firm. That's most likely static, or is something that may not change for a long years. Or maybe something like the number of products. We may not necessarily launch, maybe categories. We may not necessarily launch new product categories every year. Of course, we might launch new products, but the product category might not increase every year. So I may want to use a card visual for that. But anything that can accommodate comparison, I don't use card visuals for that. Rather, I use a custom visual that is called Zebra BI. So Zebra BI, if you go to, who remembers how to bring in custom visual? Sometimes I forget some of these things. Who remembers? Okay, Yinka, yes. How do we?
Click on the three ellipses at the end of the visualization pane under the
Okay,
visuals.
okay, here. All right, so I say get more visuals. So once we get in here, and then so if I come here to search for Zebra BI, so we see that Zebra BI has charts. They have tables. This is the new table, an updated version of the table. I think this should be 6.0 or something. So most likely they will take this off very soon. And Zebra BI cards. Although Zebra BI visuals are not totally free, you pay licenses for them, but there's a free trial. You can still use the chart. Sorry, somebody needs to mute. So you can still use the chart for free for over a particular period of time. But I think it will be important. So when eventually when we are in some business environment and we need to do some real analysis, you might want to encourage the company to pay for this. I'm not sure of the actual amount for licensing, but I know and I'm assuming that it will be something that is really affordable. It shouldn't be something that's as costly. So we import this, but the one we're using for now is the Zebra BI cards. So I have it already. So I have it here. Sometimes I still don't recognize it, but I think this is it. So I'll bring in my Zebra BI card. Okay, so I did not click out to turn this to this, and then I'll bring in my, here's the card again. This is the Zebra BI card. So I'll bring this down to this side. And Zebra BI visuals, they are very easy to use. If you look at the panes here, you notice that it has a category pane. It has, you can group your KPIs, you can have, you can drop values, can drop previous year values, the plan, the forecast, and all of this. So what I will just do is to come to my facts. So I'll pick my revenue, I'll drop it in values, and then I'm gonna clear out my filters first. So I see 2.3 million. Then I'll come here to, I have a same period last year calculation, which is doing the same period is comparing against the same period last year. So I'm gonna pick that and I'll drop it in the previous year. So as soon as I drop it in the previous year, this is what I have. So let me just quickly do some formatting on this. So I'll come here, I'll change the icon to this, and then I want this to show me what the percentage difference is and what the number difference is. This is what this means. So I'll come out of this back to the report, but this is as though it is not giving us the information we need yet. So what I would do is, as soon as I filter this by year. We are doing the same period last year. So if we have not selected any year on the report, your time-based calculations will not work yet because there is no reference to any time yet. So if I go to 2016 now, immediately the visual is showing us this. And now we can see that in the year 2016, we made 733,000. This is what we can see here. But what is the previous year? In the previous year, we made 608,000. And now we can immediately see that there was a growth in our revenue. So it's telling us this green icon here is telling us that there was a growth in our revenue when we compare the actual period we are looking at to the previous year. So there was a growth in our revenue. And this is an excellent way to quickly mark our performance in the business. So if I go to 2015, if there was still a growth. Let me see if I can get a bad year. Okay, so this is a bad year, 2014. How is it a bad year? We made more money in 2013 than in 2014. So that we had a drop of 13.7K in 2014 when we compare our revenue in 2014 to 2013. And that is why we have a red triangle which is showing us that there was a drop in our revenue. So this is a reason why I prefer the Zebra BI card to the normal Power BI card. So because it allows for comparison, and at a glance, this might be an executive dashboard. The management team just want to go there to see what's changing in the business, how are we faring. The information about how we're faring within the business has to do with comparison. So this is what I will want to use now. So I'm gonna place my slicer where I have highlighted that I'll place it. So I'm gonna put this here somehow, and then I'll take these two guys off. So I have this one here. So I'll just duplicate. What we want to look at with this is how to outline some things on the visual layouts. That's what we are trying to achieve. So you might want to do some deeper analysis than what I'm doing here. So I have this. So maybe for this one, let me just see if I can quickly change this to, I think I have something on profit and profit last year. And then I have something for, I think I have something for units sold and units sold last year. All right. So assuming that this is what I have and this is what I want to place here, then the next thing is we have just about 30 minutes more. The next thing is, let's say we want to visualize a particular category. Maybe we want to visualize our products or location. So I can use any visual actually, but I also want to use Zebra BI. So I'm using Zebra BI chart for this. So I'll place this somewhere here, and then I can do something like this. And then here we are looking at our different products. Product name, is that not too much? Let me see, how many products name do we have? Okay, let me do product subcategory. That's still pretty much. So I'll change this to Zero BI table instead. Okay, so we have a list of this. Then I want to look at the breakdown by the actual revenue and then the comparison with the same period. Okay, so I have this. I will add one more card to this. One more card. So I'm just gonna place this somewhere here. And then let's add one more visual. So let's use our Zebra BI chart now. And I'm just gonna place this here. And so I would bring up the month, and then we're looking at let's say we're looking at our profit, and we're looking at days, and then I want to change this to something like this. Okay, so I'm assuming that I'm done with my report now. How do I clean up the layout? How do I ensure that things are nicer and you have a better feel of this? This might be the only page that will do. And of course, the idea is to make us understand some recommended practices around reporting, designing our layout, and of course, we can now go on to build ours and have them published online. So now I have this now. The very first thing is this. Everybody look at this report page. Figure out something, one thing that is wrong, that is not right yet, and type it on the chart. In 1 minute, please. One thing that's not right yet, that you feel is not right yet on this report, and type on the chart. Okay, I see colors, I see shadow border, I see colors. Okay. Rename the title of visuals, the font, formatting. Yes, yes, formatting. Formatting in what area, Yinka? The page is hard to understand at first glance apart from the cards. Okay, the font, the title. Okay. All right. So let's now begin to address this now. One of the things that is wrong that we have not figured out yet is I'll leave us to figure that out still. But let's begin with some things. Colors. So how do we define colors for our report? How do you want to how do you want to select a color for your report? Most times there will be a specific color for a company, or they will have a set of colors that they use in the company. That might be coming from their logo, from their brand, or whatever. So there might be colors for the company. It's usually advised that if the company has some defined colors, make use of those in your reporting. But how do we go about that? So let's pick a company now. Somebody should suggest a company on the chart, and we'll go and look for that company's color on Google, and we'll use that to build the report. Suggest a company that we can find on Google. not a company that's upcoming. Somebody said Google. Okay, Google is a company. Okay, so let's pick Google. Okay, that's I saw that first. So let's pick Google. So I'll go to Google to look for Google. So here I would say Google logo. So I'm picking Google's logo. Sorry, I'll just switch this to images, and then I can select. So let me see if I can download one of these. So I'll say save image as. And again, sometimes you see some logos here on Google, and that might not be the correct company's logo. So you need to confirm. So I'll just name this Google. So if I come here to this downloaded, I'm guessing, yes. So if I come here to my report and I try to import that image that I called Google, unfortunately, I'm not sure where it's saved. So I'm guessing it should be maybe pictures. Yes. So if I bring this guy here, and so now this is the colors we want to use on our report. How do we get to know what colors these are and how? Quick one. The way to go about it, come here, open a new tab, go to coolloss.com. .co. So I'll share this link on the chat. Let me be sure this is the correct address. So what you do here is to generate some color palettes, or is it palette they call it? I'm not sure. So I'm just, let me see if I can locate that link, the links I sent earlier, so I can put all together. All right, got it. So where's this? Sorry, seems I can't edit. Okay, I think I should be able. Okay, yeah, edit. So I have that there now. All right. So now, once you are here, what you need to do is to come to start the generator. And there are a number of ways to generate, but the one of the ways we can use is to come to upload the logo so that it picks what the IDs are and then uses the Yinka. Please shoot.
Your screen is not displaying anymore.
Sorry, somehow. Okay, thanks for that. How did I stop sharing? Is it back up?
Yes, it is.
Okay, thanks for that. So these are some color combinations. So whatever you see here, most of these colors will go together on the report. And there's a way to ask it to generate more. Let me see. I just view export. I know there is a way. Is it by entering? There's a keyboard for it to now to give you more ideas. More ideas. It just keeps combining. But let's not waste time on that. View as gradient, blah, blah, blah. Not sure. So now what we do is I'll come here to this camera icon, and then I would say that I want to upload an image, and the image I want to upload is the Google. I'll click on OK. Then you might select the part of this because this Google logo has a number of colors. You may want to select the part of it that you want to make more pronounced. So if you want to use the red, you want to use the green, or you want to use this, you can just select which part of it you want to make more pronounced. So maybe we use this red. Real life scenario, I will not use red. So then I'll click on next. and say you say open in the generator. So when you say open in the generator, it pulls out for you the entire colors that you have on that logo, and then it creates the color codes for you. And another beautiful thing about this is you may want to use some other shades of this color. So let's say you want to use this red, but you want a different shade of this red. So you can come to this that says view shades, and it gives you all the shades of that currently selected color. And maybe you want to use this dark one, you can just select it and you can come here to copy. So if I come here to copy this now, I can come back to my report. Maybe that's what I want to use for the background. So I can come here to format the page, canvas background, then I can come to color, then I can come to more color, I'll just paste. So once I paste, I'll click out, then I'll reduce the transparency. So I need to reduce the transparency. Maybe I want to increase it more, maybe to something like, maybe I want to do 95, just to make that there's something on the background, maybe 92. Okay, so maybe I want something like this. So now this logo that I have here, I actually do not need it here, so I'll take that off. So we have used that on the background. I may want to come here now to say that maybe I want to come to this again and say I want to use this darker one, and I want to use it for this line. So I'll come to the line style. Is it the fill of the border? I think it's the border. So I'll come here, I'll Control V, and then I'm out. So I have this as the color. Then for this one, I want to, maybe I want to take off the background completely. Then maybe the font here, I want to come here to use maybe a darker one from this guy. And then I just pick this. I know most of us on the call, we are better with colors. So we'll do much better than the nonsense I am doing. So, but I hope we got the idea. So Control A, come here, Control C, Control V. So I have this. Then another information I would want to add to this is to tell my user that maybe wherever they see PY, it's telling us something. So I can say that AC, AC means actual period selected. And then I want to say PY means previous year to the selection. Okay, maybe I want to have this information for them, and then I may want to tell them something also that this gives an overview of the firm's performance. Okay, so I'm trying to work by our time. So if you have questions, just let me know. Can always attend to our questions as we are going. And then I want to italicize this. And for this one, I just want to make this bold somehow. And this guy here, maybe I want to do the 9 for this. This one too, I want to do it 10.5. And then, so you might want to change the colors as well to some things. But again, this scroll here means that the space is not enough. So I may want to expand it a bit more, and so that the scroll just goes off. So maybe this is all the information I want to give here. For this slicer, it doesn't make sense as there is a background. So I might want to come here and then I switch off the background. So the font, maybe there is a different font you want to use. So we can go on to explore that. Sorry, I have a new message on Teams. What is the message? It's great to learn these colors templates. I'm confused. Sorry, I don't understand English. All right. So now, then another thing I might want to do here is, so let's assume that these guys here, I want them to be properly aligned. I want them to be aligned. So you see that these three are close. There is a space here. Then this is the fourth one. It doesn't look nice yet. So I want to select all of these guys. I'll select this, and you can use the selection pane to pick all of this. This is just the lazy way to do it. Then I can come to format, I can come to align, and I can say distribute horizontally. Sorry, there's something I did not select. So this one, two, three, and four. Then I say format, I come to align, and I say distribute horizontally, and maybe that is fine. Or I want this to go slightly to the side like this, so that it just gets to the line. And now, okay, let's do something. Quick question to everybody. How can I ensure that my card, this my card, and this my line, they are on the same level to the left? How can I ensure that they're on the same level? How do I match the positioning so that they are properly aligned to the same level? Anybody? Quickly, 1 minute. Oh, Latif. Sorry. My English is poor. I got it now. Anybody? How do we do it normally? I'm sure we've done this before in our report. You want this and this to be on the same level. How do you do it? Nobody's speaking, Should I call names? The gurus in the house, they are trying to pretend, right? Or we are tired, we want to close now. This is a good point to close, really. It's a good point to close. Okay, somebody wants to come to our rescue. Precious.
Um, the way I do it, I don't know if there's another automatic way of doing it, but what I do is when I'm moving a visual, there's always a line that
You get
comes
a
up.
guide
Yes. So with that line, you'll
like
be able to
this.
know. Yes.
So you just keep dragging, try to match it. Okay, it's here now. Okay. Yes, that's what most people do. Thanks for that, Precious. But a better way to do it is this. Just click on the first thing. Okay, this is the line. Then you come to the format, you come to general. For any visual that you are working with, there is a properties for that visual. So if you click on these properties, then you can come to the position. The position is how is this positioned on your report canvas. So if I come to the position, so this is telling me that it is 10. I don't know if this is inches or centimeter, but it is at a 10, maybe centimeters distance from the left. That's the horizontal, right? And 85. So if you're coming from the top, you count 85 before you get to this line. If you're coming from the left, you count 10 before you get to this line. So if you want this visual now to be at the same level, it means we are dealing with the horizontal part. So we have said it is at 10. So if I come here now to select my card, you see that the card would have a different positioning. So the card is at 22 horizontal and 122 vertical, but we want it to be at the same level as the line. So I'll just need to come here to this horizontal. I'll change this to 10. And immediately you see that it shifts, and then it must be, there is no doubt about it. It is at the place just the same way with the proper alignment with the line above. So if I come here to this one as well, I give this a 10, it adjusts, and then it just goes to where it's meant to be. So, and then Maybe I want this to be at this level. And so now for these guys now, I want them to the sizes to be the same. So I can select this first one and say that I want to increase the weight. Maybe I want to do a 160. Okay. 160 might be too much. So let me do 155. So 155, then I'll come to the second. I will select the third and the fourth, and I want to do the weight of 155. So this is all at 155 now. And so now I want to just take this back slightly in, and I want them all to be properly aligned. So I'm running out of time already. So this is properly aligned. They're sitting on the same level, shoulder to shoulder, toes to toes. Then what more I may want to do is for some of this visual, this one, let's assume that I want to take off. I may want to take off the background for this as well. So I want to do this, take off the background. This one, I want to take off the background as well. We may want to do a bit more formatting on this. So this, I might want to just make it like this. And another thing I may want to do is to insert a button, a blank button. Somebody will be wondering, what do you need a blank button for? So this is something I also do. I just want to use it to group similar things together. So I pick this. So you see now, I'm not even able to pick my buttons again. So I can just go to the general and go to properties, the width. Maybe I can make this 700. Okay, so that's pretty larger than I need. So I'll do 650. Getting closer, so I can do 625. Perfect. So I have 625 and it's imperfect, but I want this to shift slightly to the top. So I'll reduce the vertical to 110. So it's just sitting right where I want it to be. But the button is doing nothing than just border. That's all it's doing. It's just giving border to the element here. So I can come here to the style. I can come here to the border, and then I can go to my palette, and then I look for another color that I want to use, maybe this one, and then I want to go to the different shade of maybe this. I want to copy this, and then I go back to my report. I come to the color here. I come here and I do a paste of this color, and I come out of this, and no, it didn't paste. So I come here, Control A, Control V. So is it 2D, 2D? Yes, 2D, 2D. Okay. It seemed very close to black. So let me see another shade of this, maybe this one. So I know we would do much better with coloring that I'm doing. And then I want to make the width, reduce the width to maybe a 2 like this. So this just differentiates some things on the report page. And for this button, I'll do a Control C, Control V. So I'll just come here. So you can still use the properties to get exactly where you want to place all of these, so that you are not doing the manual work. Okay, this one, the one above, is sitting on another visual already. So I'll just come to the properties here, and then the vertical position. So let me make this 15, and the height, I want to reduce the height to 2 to 5. And so for this one, I want to give it a height of, let me first take it slightly up, 365. So I need more, 355. I need 350. Let me do 347. Perfect. So then I can give it a height of can give it a height of what's this? Maybe this 346, 355. So 355, something like this. Okay, so this might just be something, but it's not nice yet because this is sitting on the visual. So this is not meant to sit on the visual. So let me shift it to the left. So I'll do the horizontal, should be 10, so it's properly aligned to what's above. And then also this one as well. 10, something like this. Then let me just duplicate it for the last one. So I'll just place it. So I'm rounding up already. I know maybe there is one more thing we've not covered yet. So I'm cleaning up this, guys. This one is here. Maybe this is all you want to do. Okay. So you have the layout of your report. One thing is when you are now going from, assuming you are done with this page now, you want to now go from this page to the next page. What you should do is to just duplicate this page so that the layout copies down, and then you just change the visuals on the page. So you don't have to recreate the entire layout all over. And because consistency is key. So when somebody is looking at your report from left to right, it has to be consistent across board. So they already understand that if they're looking for slicer, it is somewhere here. So you shouldn't get onto another page of your report and you are placing your slicer at the bottom. It's not the best thing to do. So ensure that it's consistent, the design is consistent, the layout is consistent, and like that. And when you are using buttons like this, it might affect some things on your visual. So now you see that the button is somehow covering the visual. So what you may want to do is to click on this now, go to format, and then you say send to back. So when you say send to back, now your visual is at the top, and then so the button just works as the border. This same thing that you've used button for, you can use a shape for it. So you just use a shape, clear out the fill, and then you give it an outline. So it's the same thing. And so we have not touched the navigation. Maybe we'll leave that for some other times, but this is just some ways I know we have achieved two things that I mentioned earlier that we're gonna touch, which is how to approach your analysis and how to design a layout. And then we touched on color and the layout itself, and but navigation is what we didn't touch on. Maybe we'll leave that for some other time so that at those other times we now pick the navigation bit and we now talk about some advanced features in Power BI, the visualization itself. So looking at your the tooltip, your drill through, your bookmarks, and some other things that you may want to do on your report. So, but like I mentioned also at the start, so on this report, if I come to the overview, so this is what I have as the overview. Um, so this is the overview page, okay? And so we have the slicer sign here, and then this gives an information about it. All these are just aesthetics, okay? There are things that they are born out of creativity. The more you want to be creative about your report this is not still done. Hopefully, maybe I'll even find time to complete this. And so there are other pages of the report as well, and some other things. But I hope we got something from today's meetup. This is meant to be the January's meetup, and we are having it now. So the next based on the schedule that we saw, most likely we'll be doing this the last Sunday of every month. So we expect that the one for February would happen on the 28th of the month, if that is the last Sunday, and that would be the way it will run most likely till the end of the year. But there might be some times that's probably there are some ad hoc discussions we want to have. If you guys are available, if I'm available, we can always schedule something. Can always work on somebody to come and facilitate our session as well, but depending on us and how much we want to gather from these sessions. The goal is to see us to continually improve. Myself and yourself, of course, this is the conversation, it's not a training, and also to ensure that as we go by in the year, we are also ticking out some boxes about our learnings, and also we are able to get to our set target for the year. So many people have some aspiration resolutions for this year. This year, I want to do this. It needs work. You need to work to get them done. We are doing Power BI. It might not always be Power BI. I know we have some topics already outlined. So there might be sometimes if you want to do something, just SQL, some other stuff as well, Excel. Maybe we can look at the remaining slots. We can fix some other things aside Power BI as well, so that we can have some other things to talk about. So anything, let's close. Any question, any comment, any suggestions, recommendations, launch as well, whatever we are shipping in. Yes, Balumi.
All right, thank you, Muhsin, for the session. My question is based on the model aspect, that's data model. But when I was working on my own here, there was when modeling it, one was actually I think two gave me an error. Probably there was two. I can't remember because my system, I don't know, is around my internet. My data, my Power BI is not always coming up on time. I've been trying it since, but it's not coming up. So it was giving me an error. Unless I think I used a postal code for the location aspect. When I want to connect it to my fact table, it was bringing an error that I cannot connect to. Blah blah. I can't explain it, really explain it, except I visualize it. But I'm not. I can't do that now because my system is not up.
So when you have clarity about what's happening, you can have the screenshots on the group, and then hopefully there will be even assistance from our colleagues on the group to see what's happening.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Anybody else? Quickly, 1 minute, then we close. Okay, Sarah.
Hi, Musin. So I just wanted to suggest, like, if we can have a session on the visuals you most commonly use, and like what they are used for, because I mean, like the card that we used today, I never knew that it's available and the use for it. So if we can just have maybe the next session we have, just like run through the um the, the common visuals you use aside the one that are um the ones already there that you use and what their uses are for.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thanks for that, Sarah. So please let's have a reminder in the next session just to look at a few custom visuals that would be very helpful. So there are a lot of tons of custom visuals out there that are very valuable to our reporting. They make life just easy for you. If you want to achieve some comparison using the traditional Power BI visuals, I don't know how you do some things, honestly. I don't know how you do it. So, but some custom visual just makes it very easy for you. You just plug in and then you get your result and you're good. So hopefully in the next class, I hope somebody remembers and reminds us so that we can look at a few of those and before we go into the talks for the next session. Okay, anyone else? So let's have this reminder and next this month, and I'm not sure of what we're talking about yet, but I know we have a schedule. Somebody would want to share that again on the group, and then so we can all be reminded if there'll be an assignment against that. Please let's ensure we leave our answer on it. Shadrach, please speak and we'll close.
Hi Musin, and hi everyone. I just wanted to tell Kwelumi to I think he should reach out to Yusuf, because I think I know what Kwelumi is saying about the errors he encountered. He had a many-to-many relationship on two, I think on the product table and one other one, or location and something. Yeah. So, but just reach out to Yusuf. He will help you. I'll put you through.
Okay. Okay, thanks for that, Shadrach. All right, thank you, everybody. Thank you for attending this meetup, and let's have a is it a nice week ahead? It's work filled week, and let's stay out of trouble. All right, let's be fine. We'll see you again at the end of the month. Bye for now, everyone.
Thank you so
Right,
much.
thanks.
Right. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.